fish in the sea, it'll be so empty without me. Now this looks like a job for me, so everybody just follow me, cause we need a little controversy, cause it feels so empty without me. I said this looks like a job for me, so everybody just follow me, cause we need a little controversy, cause it feels so empty without me.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, children of all ages, you are listening to the most electrifying podcast in all of internet radio today. You are listening to the Sportswire. That's right, ladies and gentlemen, we are here live in beautiful, historic New Britain, Connecticut, right a block away from Walnut Hill Park. We've got a lot to go over. We've got a huge jam-packed episode for you today. First of all, as always, we're going to start the show off right. So if you're able to, okay, obviously if you're driving, you can't. Or if you're at work, you can't. I understand all that. But if you can, please rise for the playing of our national anthem. National anthem. It was performed by I'm assuming some band somewhere. But anyways, we've got a huge jam-packed live show for you today. We have a great special interview for you at 10:30 coming up. We are going to be interviewing 2018 Connecticut Gubernatorial Candidate Jacey Wyatt. She is making history for a couple of reasons. And we will definitely talk a lot about some of her policies, as well as just a lot of stuff that she's interested in, and what she plans on doing for the state of Connecticut should she be elected in 2018. Now, a couple of things she already has going for her. Number one, she's running as a Democrat. Yes, I know. I am interviewing a Democratic candidate on the show. But you know what? Here's the deal. Just reading some of her posts and reading some of her outlooks on things and her sides on issues, it's not a typical Democratic nomination. So, but because Connecticut is historically an all-blue state, she's made the smart decision by running as a Democrat. Second thing, our current bozo, Governor Malloy, who is if I'm correct, the second worst governor in the country currently, as voted on by citizens of the country. He has said that he is not going to seek a third term, so he will not be running in 2018. So the field is wide open now. I have heard other people saying that they may tease a run. So it remains to be seen. It's wide open. Could Connecticut flip and go to the red and become a Republican state? It's highly unlikely. Especially because the majority of people in Connecticut voted for Hillary this year, or this past election. So, but see, what I have to say, and we'll get more into it during the interview, and we'll talk to her about it. The fact is that President Trump got elected because he was not a career politician. You know, he was not an elected official pretty much at all, other than in his own business, and he's running the country like it has to be. Some people put him in hot water last week because of the quote-unquote mother of all bombs that was dropped on Afghanistan. They killed 30 ISIS operatives, and they they completely demolished a lot of their underground tunnel passages and everything. So it was good. And so many people said, well, why did you have to go over there and bomb them? And, bombing Syria as well. But honestly, we need a president like that. We need somebody who's going to take the bull by the horns and actually get things accomplished. Under President Obama, okay, ISIS was allowed to run free. He couldn't even say the words Islamic terror. I mean, come on now. Really? But I need to keep my composure a little bit. I'm not going to make this all politics. I do have some sports and wrestling to get into. But the fact of the matter is this, okay? President Trump is doing what he has to do, okay? Everybody's crying about us bombing Syria a couple weeks ago. Well, did you see what I don't know if he's president or Assad from Syria. Did you see what he's doing to his own people? Okay, so the best thing to do is to go over there and beat the crap out of them. And that's what we did. 39 missiles? Maybe 39, 59? Something like that. Compared to, we got a lot of people hurt and dead. A lot of those people who are the quote-unquote bad guys. So President Trump is doing what he has to do in order to make this country safe and keep our country safe. Everybody's saying, "Oh well, North Korea is testing their nuclear missiles as well, and they're really, gunning at the U.S." First of all, North Korea, if you've been reading the news, North Korea has tested their nuclear missiles, I think, for the past 2 weeks, and as of yet have been unsuccessful. So if anything, they'll bomb themselves and blow themselves up. So, I mean, we don't have to. I'm never going to say we don't have to worry. But what I'm going to say is President Trump is getting our military strong enough where if somebody was to try to take, if you remember World War II, we got Pearl Harbor. I mean, quite literally. Okay, we got Pearl Harbor. Okay, and the fact of the matter is, what did America do? That put us into World War II. Okay, we were trying to stay neutral, but then Japan came and did Pearl Harbor. Okay, we're trying to make it so that doesn't happen again. Okay, everybody's saying, oh, well, Trump is going to start World War III. No. If anything, he's dealing with the fallout of 8 years of nothing happening. Okay, President Obama did not want to do anything. He wanted to be passive. He wanted to be passive and just let things happen and everything. Now, I'll be the first person to say we don't have to stick our nose into everybody's business. Okay, but the fact of the matter is, if you have people killing, look at what Saddam Hussein did to his own people in Iraq. And President Bush went over there and we killed him. We arrested him and then hung him, for crimes against humanity. It's the same thing, okay? Are we the police of the world? No, we're not. But you know what? When we see the fact that a lot of these terrorist actions are happening here on our own soil, well, then, we have to make sure it doesn't happen on our own soil. And President Trump is doing just that. But I know I went off on a tangent there, but the whole fact of the matter is he was elected because he had no elected official. He was never an elected official before. He does not have a career in politics. Jacey Wyatt is the same way. Currently, and I will find out for a fact once I talk to her. I know that she is definitely a businesswoman in Branford, Connecticut. She's a former fitness model, also making headlines because she's the very first transgendered person, born a male, became a female, to run for any, as far as I know, for any elected official in the country. So we'll talk to her more about that, and she's got a lot of interesting ideas. And let me make something perfectly clear right here, right now. And I've said it before, I'll say it again. Okay, in my opinion, even though I'm a Republican, okay, but I do have some alternate viewpoints on a lot of things. Okay, in terms of same-sex marriage, I personally don't care either way. You go out, you marry who you want to love. I don't care if it's in the Bible or not. Okay, because the Bible, in my opinion, is not the be-all, end-all for life. Okay, secondly, in terms of transgendered, okay, now I'm the first person to say I will never screw with what God makes. Okay, God made me who I am. I have mistakes. However, with that being said, there are times where people just feel uncomfortable in their own skin, okay? And I've talked to a few of them, Okay, JC is not going to be the first transgendered person that I will talk to. Okay, and if you remember back in June of 2015, as a matter of fact, the very last episode, the very first live Sportswire, okay, and the very first time Big Lou was on with me, and unfortunately the very last time, we talked to Brody Ray Runge, who is a transgendered female to male, and he became a huge singer. So we talked to him. There are other people out there who I have spoken with. I personally have no problem at all with somebody living their life the way they want to. In terms of the abortion issue, I'm personally against abortion, but you know what? Who's to say that, a rape happens or the mother's, the mother's life is in danger? I don't feel it should be used as birth control, but at the same time, I don't feel we should dictate the idea that no abortions are possible. And I don't feel that those are necessarily federal nor government issues. I think the government issues have to stay with the economy. They have to stay with, how to make, the people get housing, take care of homeless people, that kind of stuff. That's what government is for. They are working for the people. And so that's my opinion. I don't care if it's unpopular with some hardcore conservatives, but that's what it is. On that note, also, happy Easter to everybody out there. Yesterday was Easter Sunday. The resurrection of Christ. That's a whole other issue. I'm not going to get into that right now. But happy Easter. And happy Easter. Hope you all had a great time with friends and family and food. And now it's time for diets yet again. One sad note I have to report. I found out that last Sunday, a week ago from yesterday, my rheumatologist, Dr. Nicholas Formica out of Bristol, passed away in a very bad car accident in New Britain. I've heard that I think he was on his way either home or to the hospital in New Britain, and he ended up getting into a very, really bad fiery accident. He was pronounced dead at the scene. So my prayers and condolences go to his family. Okay. More stuff to talk about. We've got a lot to talk about. This coming Saturday at Joseph Malillo Middle School in East Haven, Connecticut is Wrestling for Autism. Head down there. The roster is ever changing just due to simple wrestling politics. Alberto El Patron, formerly known as Alberto Del Rio, will not be there due to TNA commitments. Also, Ivelisse Velez from Lucha Underground has been announced to be there as well, along with a lot of other great cast. I was trying to get an interview with the director of Knockout Autism, or Wrestling for Autism here in Connecticut, James Raymond. Unfortunately, our schedules just didn't match up. We were supposed to do it last Thursday. I, however, unfortunately just couldn't get the call in, so I want to apologize. But they are having another one coming up in June. I will have a interview with him before that event. So just stay tuned. Like I said, Knockout Autism, Wrestling for Autism, and that's this Saturday, Joseph Malillo Middle School in East Haven, Connecticut. Check it out. Some tickets are still available. Most of them will be will call or at the door, and so definitely check that out. We've got also some more stuff to talk about. But first, okay, we've got huge news coming out of WWE. As you all know, the Superstar Shakeup was last weekend. Quite a few people switched brands. It was like a huge superstar shakeup. It was a huge draft lottery, basically, and it wasn't even like they were standing on a podium drafting people. It was just surprises after surprises after surprises. Okay, first it started with The Miz and Maurice and Dean Ambrose going over to Raw from SmackDown, and so that was a big. Kalisto went over to Raw. I'm assuming Kalisto is going to go to the Cruiserweight division, which would probably be best for him in that capacity. Let's see. Who else moved over from SmackDown to Raw? Big name Bray Wyatt came over from SmackDown. He's going to be taking out Randy Orton at WWE Payback, which is obviously which is the SmackDown World Title, the WWE title, but it's going to be defended at the Raw pay-per-view Payback in 3 weeks. So until then, Bray Wyatt is still in there, but it looks like Bray Wyatt might start to feud with Finn Balor, which would be fantastic if he's in his demon character. But the other question is, now that Bray Wyatt is on Raw with Braun Strowman, will Braun Strowman fall back under the tutelage of Bray Wyatt? I personally don't think so, because Braun Strowman is on his own. He's getting his own singles push. And I think that that's going to overtake everything. All right, secondly, Braun Strowman had a huge, very violent display against Roman Reigns this past Monday on Raw, where he literally attacked him from out of nowhere. He threw his, and he just completely obliterated him. He was Roman Reigns put on a stretcher, and then Braun Strowman threw the stretcher off the loading dock. Basically, I guess if you will, made it seem like he did. I think there was a dummy on the stretcher. But either way, the appearance of, it is sports entertainment after all. But Braun Strowman threw that off the loading dock. And then, on top of that, the paramedics were loading Reigns into the ambulance. And then Braun Strowman comes over and pushes the ambulance on its side, tips it over, which that was a little bit of a stretch for me to, suspend disbelief. There had to be a forklift or something on the other side pulling, because even the Big Show was only able to tip over a smaller Jeep instead of not a full ambulance. So it looks like Braun Strowman and Roman Reigns are going to face each other at Payback, probably in a stretcher or an ambulance match, thus ending their feud. Now, the question I have is, Roman Reigns defeated The Undertaker, and The Undertaker passed the torch. And then for 2 straight weeks, Roman Reigns gets obliterated by Braun Strowman. So you tell me how The Undertaker's feeling right now. It's a very bad creative decision on the WWE to have, Roman Reigns, the guy who The Undertaker just passed the torch to, obliterated for 2 weeks. Although, the WWE Universe, all the marks out there who hate Roman Reigns simply because they wanted a bearded goat, Daniel Bryan, to win the Royal Rumble in 2015, okay? Basically, they want, they don't like Roman Reigns, and they're voicing their displeasure against Roman Reigns. Personally, I like Roman Reigns. I think he's going to be the future of the company as long as his booking is correct, and I really do. I like Roman Reigns. So with that being said, I feel like he should have more of a push. And if they're going to turn him heel, now's the best time, because everybody hates him anyways. So he's the biggest heel in the country. But the fact is, when he comes out, when his music hits, everybody's standing up on their feet. Everybody's standing up on their feet. Okay, whether you're booing him or you're cheering him, everybody is reacting to Roman Reigns, and that is what sells money. What makes money, what sells merchandise. All right, also coming over from SmackDown to Raw, Heath Slater and Rhino, the former SmackDown Tag Team Champions, Apollo Crews, Kurt Hawkins, and I believe that's the end of the SmackDown to Raw people. Oh, and shake-up at the announce desk. Baron Corbin goes over to SmackDown, and David Otunga comes over to Raw. However, for the near future, I guess David Otunga's out doing something. Booker T will be coming to the Raw announce desk, joining Corey Graves and Michael Cole. That should be interesting. I think they should just stick with a two-man desk on myself. But that's just me. So with that being said, going over from Raw to SmackDown, United States Champion Kevin Owens, Sami Zayn, let's see, who else? Sin Cara, the Shining Stars, Charlotte Flair has gone over from Raw to SmackDown, and Tamina has gone over from Raw to SmackDown. Oh, I forgot to mention that Mickie James and Alexa Bliss have gone from SmackDown to Raw as well for the women's division. Let's see. Also going from Raw to SmackDown is the New Day. Thank God. The New Day is gone from Raw. I don't have to see them unless I watch SmackDown, which is very rare. So thank God the New Day is over on SmackDown. Yeah, I don't like the New Day too much, if you could tell. So that's the extent of the Superstar shakeup. Also, Kevin Owens is defending the United States Championship against Chris Jericho payback, so until then, the United States Championship will not be defended on SmackDown, thus to protect the integrity of the title. And then AJ Styles won a first triple threat number one contenders match on SmackDown this past week against Sami Zayn and Baron Corbin, that he'll be the first challenger to either Jericho or Kevin Owens' United States Championship. However, we know Jericho is taking an extended leave of absence because he's going to be touring with Fozzy and putting out a new album, so it's going to be Kevin Owens. End of story. We know that already. Alright, so I'm going to get to my first song, and today's a good of a rock day. I forgot to put the explicit. I forgot to check the explicit box, so we'll get that song out of the way first. Okay, here's "Remember the Name" by Fort Minor, right here on the Sportswire. Like I said, this is a little bit explicit. It does say the F word in there. I apologize for any kids that are listening in now time, but most kids are in school. So, like I said, it is a little bit explicit. Here's "Remember the Name" by Fort Minor, right here on the Sportswire.
Let's go. Yeah. For those of you that want to know what we're all about, it's like this, yo. This is 10% luck, 20% skill, 15% concentrated power of will, 5% pleasure, 50% pain, 100% reason to remember the name. Like, he doesn't need his name up in lights, he just wants to be heard, whether it's the beat of the mic. Feels so unlike everybody else, alone, in spite of the fact that some people still think that they know him, but fuck him, he knows the code. It's not about the salary, it's all about reality and making some noise, making a story, making sure his click stays up. That means when he puts it down, Todd's picking it up.
Who the hell is he anyway? He never really talks much, never concerned with status, but still leaving him starstruck. Humble through opportunities given despite the fact that many misjudge him because he makes a living from writing raps. Put it together himself, got a picture connects, never asking for someone's help or to get some respect. He's only focused on what he wrote, his will is beyond reach, and now it all unfolds, the skill of an artist. This is 20% skill, 80% fear, be 100% clear, cause Ryu was ill. Who would've thought he'd be the one that set the West in flames? And I heard him wreck it with the crystal method, name of the game. Came back, dropped Megadeth, took him to church. I like Bleach, man, Ryu had the stupidest verse, let's do this the truth. Now everybody giving them guest spots and stocks through the roof. I heard him fucking with that stuff.
This is 10% luck, 20% skill, 15% concentrated power of will, 5% pleasure, 50% pain, 100% reason to remember the name.
They call him Ryu, he's sick and he's spitting fire and Mike got him out the dryer, he's hot. Found him in Fort Minor with top, but a fucking nihilist porcupine. He's a prick, he's a cop. The type women wanna be within rappers, hope he gets shot. 8 years in the making, patiently waiting to blow. Now the record with your notice taking over the globe. He's got a partner in crime, this shit is equally dope. You won't believe the kind of shit that comes out of this kid's throat. He's not your everyday on the block. He knows how to work with what he's got, making his way to the top. He often gets a comment on his name. People keep asking him, was it given that birth that doesn't stand for an acronym? No, he's living proof. Let him rock in the booth. He'll get you buzzing quicker than a shot of vodka with juice. Him and his crew are known around as one of the best. Dedicated to what they do and give 100%.
Forget Mike, nobody really knows how or why he works so hard. It seems like he's never got time because he writes every note and he writes every line. And
and I've seen him at work. When that light goes on in his mind, it's like a design is written in his head every time before he even touches a key or speaks in a rhyme. And those motherfuckers he runs with, the kids that he signed, ridiculous, without even trying. How do they do this? Is 10% luck, 20% skill, 15% concentrated power of will, 5% pleasure, 50% pain, 100% reason to remember the name. This is 10% luck, 20% skill, 15% concentrated power of will, 5% pleasure, 50% pain, 100% reason to remember the name. Fort Minor, M. Shinoda, Styles of Beyond, Ryu, Talk Fear, Machine Shop.
All right, and that was Fort Minor with Remember the Name right here on the Sportswire. Like I said, it was explicit. It had swears in it. I apologize for not clicking that little explicit box. Normally, I'm not used to playing it, but I felt like playing a little different music today. Also, we want to thank M&J Video Games and Collectibles. If you have anything in terms of video games or wrestling DVDs or wrestling memorabilia, wrestling anything, or video games, anything, go on down to visit their stores in Southington and Wallingford. I'm going to play a quick promo for them right now.
Hey guys, here with WWE Hall of Famers and WWE legend Tatanka. Guys, when we're in town in Southington at M&J Video and Sports Collectibles, this is the place.
And wherever he goes, that's where I go. Arriba! You can come to M&J Video Games and Sports Collectible at 1049 Queen Street in Southington, Connecticut. Come on down and see the champ. Yeah, baby!
And they're going to have quite a few autograph signings coming up, too, as well. I just saw that Shane Douglas will be there in June. I have to get the exact date, but that's one that I definitely want to go to. Shane Douglas, the franchise of ECW, had a couple of failed gimmicks in the WWE and WCW, although he was a tag team champion with Ricky Steamboat in WCW, but he made his name in ECW. All right, so we're waiting. I'm awaiting the tone in my ear that Jacey Wyatt has called in because it's almost that time for us to get started with the interview. But as of right now, I do want to point out for some baseball news, the New York Yankees are doing fantastic. I love it. 5-0 home opener, 6-game winning streak. This is a fantastic thing for the New York Sports Club. No, I don't want NFL Mobile. ESPN Mobile, that's what I wanted. I want to kind of go over the standings thus far in baseball for everybody so that y'all know that the Yankees are where it's at this year. Because of, well, we're just that damn good. No, we went through the period of rebuilding. We still have Starlin Castro. Sabathia's been pitching great. Masato Tanaka's been pitching great. Our bullpen is fantastic. Especially with picking Aroldis Chapman back up after winning the World Series or helping Chicago win the World Series last year. Let's see. Trying to get to MLB standings. I don't know if it'll give it to me with this app, but we'll see. Let's see. What else do we have to go over now? Last week I never got a chance to go over the fact the UConn women lost in the Final Four of the Women's National Championship Tournament. They lost to, let's see, it's kind of sad that I don't even know who they lost. I mean, we were watching the game at work. It was sad. They lost by by a last-minute jump shot, really. Where last year they beat them by 40 points. So, it was a big to-do for the UConn women. They ended their streak at 110 games, which is a fantastic feat in itself. 110 or 111, something like that. Like I said, a fantastic feat all in itself. Um, and I personally happen to give them a lot of credit because they are absolutely phenomenal.
This call is being recorded.
Okay, so I just got the tone in my ear that Jacey Wyatt is with us. So I'm going to hook it up and make sure that it's all set. And I think we're okay. Here we go. Nope, nope, we don't want that muted. And hello, Jacey. How are you today?
I am wonderful. How are you?
I'm doing fantastic myself. So,
Well, that's good. It's what we want. Everybody to be good and happy and have more money in their pockets. That's what we want.
you're absolutely right on that. So I wanted to see and kind of welcome you to the Sportswire. I
Thank you. I'm not the biggest sports fan in the country, but I'm going to be educated. I got tons of numbers that I can get you and information on sports. But obviously, as you know, running for governor, I get thousands of things thrown at me. So let's put one more thing. Can't wait to find out more about what you guys wanted me to talk about.
Well, that's fantastic. I am personally right now getting. Oop, that's not what I wanted. I apologize. Something is actually. Is this what I want? Nope. Anyways, I'll get everything together. But I wanted to just let everybody.
Technical issues are fun, but we definitely want everything to be good.
Oh, audio options. That's what I wanted. I got that. And okay, we definitely well, as far as I know, everybody can hear you. That's the most important thing. And all right, so what? Let's start off. And let's first of all get your idea as to why you decided to run for governor.
Okay. So I'm running for governor because it's time that a person that is not an elected official or career politician starts looking on how we actually operate this state. I have been entrenched in the Brantford politics for the last few years, so this isn't something that I haven't done before, but it is something that I absolutely have passion for. I have absolutely see where somebody as an outsider is going to be the more beneficial person that's going to end at the end of these. I think there's 12 Republicans. There's actually only 2 Democrats that are actually running right now. The others that are in our group are actually exploring. So if they explore, they're not really considered a candidate yet because they're only exploring. So I've decided, because I'm heard from the people, they asked me to do this, they've handed me the money, and we're going to spend the next year looking to fight this system and try to win at the end. So I've wanted to do this because I have the passion for it. I see how I can make differences in the state of Connecticut. And the biggest thing is the people of Connecticut who are reaching out, from the wealthiest to even the struggling to the middle class, everybody, seniors. They see me more of this final option because they see that there's more involved in me that they can actually relate to. And so to me, the reason I'm doing this is for the people of Connecticut. I can actually defend them. I can stand up for them because I don't have to answer to anybody else. I've already reached out to many of our reps and House of Reps and senators, and some are very open and some are very much the way they are. And that doesn't help us down the road from a point of view that we want them to be more open into changing the state of Connecticut and stop putting 300 bills in a session. There's more that we can do for the people than trying to find every single way we can tax somebody in the state of Connecticut.
You're absolutely right. And it seems to me like this current governor has thought of almost every single way to tax us. And you know, it's one of those things where the running joke is pretty soon he'll find a way to tax the air we breathe.
The thing is, too, where people realize it's just not the governor that's doing this. Again, remember, you have all these legislators, and which thing gets confused, even like there's ads on TVs and you say, contact your lawmakers. Legislators are becoming our lawyers of our state. And that's why I have one representative I'm dealing with that has 17 pages of bills that are trying to come through the state. That's over 300, I think, a session. And to me, this is where I came out to be the first one to say, listen, don't you think you guys should have term limits on you guys? Why are you able to sit here and make this much confusion to us? I understand everybody wants an idea and what they want to come and create and make things better for people. That's great. But I think it's excess. I think we're coming in with way too many things trying to make the system even more complex than it needs to be. I think there should be term limits on our senators and legislators, and I also think that we should also look at the amount of bills that we propose to the state of Connecticut that have to show up on my desk to sign if I would want them or not. It's just not Governor Malloy who's creating them. It's the force behind us that is the balance of our system in the United States, just like it is in the state of Hartford. But to me nowadays, it's that we have to look upon working with each other, but maybe solutioning it from a point where the governor's mission and goals are, not looking for how the reps want to do that. And just one more thing on that. These reps and all the House of Representatives, they are representing certain districts in the state of Connecticut. They are talking for those people, representing them. I would love to know if someone puts a poll out there, if their representatives are bringing bills that they ask them to do. And I guarantee you we will find a 0 on that, because I would say the people of Connecticut are not asking for these tons of bills to be showing up on people's desks up in Hartford. These are people who had their own mission. They have their own reasons for why they're creating them. They're trying to do something to get a name possibly. And to me, these are the people I'm going to be working with, and I don't mind calling them out, and I think that's what people realize. I don't like the way we're doing it, and that's why I'm running for governor.
Well, that's fantastic, and I definitely applaud you for that. And one of the things that I picked up on that you said was term limits. That's been a hot button issue, in my opinion, for years, even at the federal level.
Even one person I've talked to, there's others, but one of them, I said, I'm really going to go for term limits on you guys. And the person was like, well, I'll never support that. And I went back with, I didn't ask you to support it. I tell you what I'm going to do. And that's the kind of answer you need to have nowadays. Someone's going to be tough enough to stand up to everybody. Have to. That's what a governor needs to do now.
You're absolutely right. And I definitely applaud that mentality. I mean, that's one of the, obviously not term limits as of yet in Washington, but that's the fact that you are coming over from a business side of things as opposed to a career politician. That's one of the things that helped our current president get elected.
Correct. Absolutely.
And
we put a president in the White House that is obviously in the same position in the way I am, and at the same time is why Connecticut is reaching out to me. I am in the system. I'm already there. I've filed our papers. We are already on our way. If newspapers or other places don't include me in it, I don't cry. I can't make them report factual, truthful information that I am in the candidate group. That is the way the media works. They pick on certain things and they fly with it and they say things that aren't true. It is absolutely true. This media have fake news that come out, and it's absolutely not the truth to the people. It's not, because I see it. We report back to the editors. Why did you say that? That's not true. And it's interesting how things get twisted, and it's sad that it goes that way. I'm really willing. This is going to be a hard job, and I'm willing to fight for it for a year now. That's where it comes from for me. I'm willing to crisscross the state. I'm willing to talk to anybody and everybody. Think of in the last 3 to 4 weeks, I've been on almost every single TV. I've been national news. We're all over the internet. 800 people, I think, are on my Facebook without even doing anything yet. And I'm thinking on how this campaign is going to move forward for us. It's just great to be there before the others. The Republicans fight all they want. They can deal and try to find out how they're going to whittle down the group of them. On the Democrat side, we have more of a responsibility to have a brand that needs to be created, the message that needs to be clear, which I have, and also taking the Democrats on the ride they needed, because there isn't somebody coming up that's a leader in the group that is what the people want. All the people that are going to come behind us, there are many more. I've already heard a couple other names coming up that are going to probably explore it. Let them. We've been there before them, and I think that's where people are going to either come and stay on our side, which they will, and others that are going to just try the field over the next couple, the year.
All right. Absolutely. And I agree.
Let's talk sports.
All right. And that's the first time that anybody's ever actually had to ask me about sports.
Let's talk about sports, mister. I got some things I want to talk to you about.
Okay. So, all right. So let's start with one of the bigger teases that's happened in the past month or so. Governor Malloy had tried to tease that he wanted the New York Islanders hockey team to come up to Connecticut and play in the XL Center. Now, that would mean the XL Center would, number one, have to kick out their current tenants of the Hartford Wolfpack, but it would also have to go through quite a few upgrades and renovations. And I guess he was proposing tax money or whatever. What are your ideas on that?
Okay, so big complex questions here. But so here's the point. In the state of Connecticut, we do not have the funds that you're asking us to have the dream teams come here. We should, okay? We need to start putting the funds together to anchor this type of projects. One, there is investors, there's wealth in our state that would be reinvesting in the state if they had the opportunity to know that they're not going to be tax burden on everything they wish to do. They're willing to leave and walk, as we heard many times in our campaign. People in Connecticut vote with their feet. They walk away. They leave. They move. They can move. We can look up money that can't move in the state of Connecticut. Those are our universities. They have endowment funds. They can't move Yale to Florida. We have other organizations in the state of Connecticut that are based here and going to have to be based here. We talked about GE leaving and United Technologies and all that kind of stuff. They're leaving because there's opportunities and smarter people around our areas gaining up on the state to find a way to get them to them. It's the same way with the sports, though. You could say whatever he wants to say. How is he going to do it? Where is it doing it? And why isn't it done is what people should be asking him. Okay? It's the same thing as I could say, I'm going to move the Patriots back here. We're going to make them here. We're going to invest $400 million for them to come back to the state of Connecticut. Anybody can say whatever they want. Are we able to do it? If I have a relationship with a Kraft family and the Kraft group sees the potential that this could be an opposition or an opponent for them, why are we not thinking we need to take businesses from Boston back to Connecticut? Because we're not that savvy hungry as I would be to make those offers and options. There is economical plans that you could see from North Carolina. We have Arizona's, we have Florida's, and they are booming because they have the team and the people working on all of those factors. So go back to what Malloy says something doesn't mean it's going to happen. Then you should keep them accountability. Don't bring out something that we wish the people want and you can't follow through. If I say we're going to move a specific team, I don't see why we can't move one of them. Why are we not looking at that? Why can't we? It's money. It's investment. I mean, I think it was the Patriots Gillette Stadium cost $325 million that Kraft built up there, 68,000 seats back in 2002 it opened. When they spent $325 million to the infrastructure of the state of Connecticut, that was our loss when they went to Massachusetts. Whatever was being done that they could not make Kraft happy, if they need to eminent domain, 300 acres, whatever they needed, the state should have came up if they wanted that deal. And that's the same with me. I would use my governor powers to make a business stay. Continue. Doesn't mean you have to spend the money. I don't see why we need to send $50 million to a pharmaceutical companies in New Haven and hope they can pay us back because we want you here. No, they should want to be in New Haven and be able to prove on their balance sheets that we are worth the $50 million we would let them borrow. That's a difference from how I see it. And when I'm being in business, this is about numbers. You better show me what you can do and better prove that we can do before we hand you that check. So the same with XL Center. We have a building in Hartford, and everybody knows that Hartford at night, nothing's there. You leave at 6 o'clock. I've been in photo shoots. I've been in meetings there. I've seen things. Hartford is empty, and that's sad. It's sad our capital city has such a difference at night than it does during the day. We're not urbanly planning a city. I come from an architecture background, too. We need to start focusing. I know we had John Larson wants to do it like $1 trillion reconfiguration of 84. It's going to cost us trillions, and to make what? Maybe it better? We built it wrong in the first place is why we're having to spend the more now. And now it's the same with this. If we have an Excel center that's not what it's supposed to be, done. It's done. We don't invest. You build new. Okay, if the convention center needs to go to Stanford and the convention center becomes the new facilities for sports, we need to reorganize the way the state's operating. And it's a point with the same with tourism development and any of the other things. So even with the Yard Goats Hartford, I think we spent $71 million to build that stadium, 6,000 seats. Do people realize that's $11,700 that each one of those seats needs to get back to just get the constructions back? And that's where things got to come back to numbers. It's a great idea. Having sports and doing things in the state is beautiful. Does it have to be in Hartford? Probably because there was nothing of focus there. The focus in Hartford, to me, should be more about the business. Why are we not putting Amazon to build their campus, to build the jobs and the millennials that want to live there with the nightlife and the things that are convenient? They don't need a car. Live on the riverfront, brand new developments that we can do on the river and let them know they can walk to their businesses. It doesn't have to be in the high rise. They could build campuses like they have in the West Coast. And that's where we need to focus. Eventually, if there's a major earthquake on the West Coast, those businesses are going to be shut down. We have a secondary hub that we can put them on the East Coast that they know there's another place they can go during the times of disasters around the country. And that's what the state of Connecticut needs to look at. Hartford needs to start realizing there's only like the insurance capital of the United States. Not all of them even do health insurance that are based up there. They only provide insurances. And that's where we can look at expanding their businesses, looking how they can become the little Microsofts and cybers and biotechs. That needs to happen in around all of Connecticut. Okay, I mean, I live in Branford and they want to be a biotech center. This comes from us being great enough to plan. I've said this many times, just being a career politician and being an elected is not going to work. This is somebody that needs to understand the people, the money, and know that I, as a developer mindset, know how to utilize our services in the state to get something built correctly and utilize it to help the businesses stay. If most of it is on the southern plan, like down in South Carolina, Georgia, they hand them the land. Come build your $50 million plant in Georgia because we're going to hand you the land. That's what the state of Connecticut needs to start understanding as a developer point of view. And that's what a governor needs to see also beyond dealing with all the other stuff we're dealing with a few minutes ago. It's about numbers and perspective numbers that make the money back into funds that other politicians can't touch, by the way. Not all of this goes to general fund. If we're going to put the tolls, I better make sure, and you will hear from me, it's going to an infrastructure fund, and no political sticky fingers are going to touch it except it goes to infrastructure. If it's an $800 million, I think we can get from doing the tolls and making them all chipped and organized, and what tax credits if you live close to Greenwich, blah, blah, blah. All of the stuff that we've heard, we can make money back by charging the people that don't live in the state of Connecticut coming through. And to me, that's what numbers mean nowadays. So if people like Malloy want to say they want to bring a team here, well, if they could, they should have. And then stop telling people teasing them, or as you said, then do it. You're going to realize, don't move from one to another. New construction is what we need to do. We will find a solution or sell off the building of what was in the past to make something progressively new. There's tons of things I've seen in Hartford that we can redo. It looks like it needs a redo. And if urban development needs to be looked at in the city, that's what we need to do. Because then you get the wealth and the investments outside of the state and inside the state to look upon building the state again together. And that's how I see this.
All I can say, I'm here. I'm taking it all in, and all I can say is amen to that. I really like that answer, and I think you're right. I think, unfortunately, when you become a career politician, you're out of touch with reality because
we're putting 17 pages of bills together on things that aren't necessary on every one of them.
Right, pretty much, and that's all there is.
Keeping public safe and finding ways to make money. We have another person that's talking about there's loopholes in the tax system. There's no such thing as tax loopholes. It's called tax law. Tax law is what they're not finding or abetting to if they're not following it. So you either got to follow the tax law or you're not. So if Connecticut is allowing hedge funds to gain the 800 or 500 million that they aren't paying all the taxes on, it's not true. They're paying it on their income tax that they're doing. So people find, I hate to say it, I mean, it's among Democrats, Republicans, all feel it's best to go out with a mission and see that they can become the shining star. Great. If there is positives in this, and I could tell you there is some positives, but we work with those hedge funds. We work with these private investors and investment firms in the state and say, listen, kind of not got the same handshake and we're not all fair. We're going to kind of look at this. But we want that extra money not to go to general fund. We want you to put into education in the state of Connecticut. You put that extra money that we're going to get from that 1% welfare tax or whatever we're going to do, wealth tax, then that money goes to what we specified it for, okay? If it is infrastructure, if it's buying property, or if we're selling state land, listen, there's a lot of state land I could tell you about that might come up on the market for me to make more money for the state of Connecticut. There's so many things that are coming on, from legalization of marijuana to this and that and this and that, and where do you stand on guns and all that. We've answered it, and I come out with the same type of responses. I'm planning to support the Second Amendment here in the state of Connecticut, but I'm also going to give you 7 public safety procedures that we feel the gun manufacturer and the gun people and the owners want within the system. You got to go back to them. They cannot be taxed anymore. They can't give up one more thing, these people that own guns, because they've given up a lot of how they feel. Then we got to respect that. We have to also realize we understand the situations in the state and around the country and all these things. It's out of control. And we need to maybe take that $500 million that went into certain things and put it into safety, put it into how we do that, how we change the guns from being what they are to brand new technical guns. They have to turn them in to get the new technical gun. And that makes the new manufacturer has to build these guns in the state of Connecticut. And it's like, it just all works when you look at a better plan, not just something so small-minded. And that's what the state is. Because I hate to say, these legislators aren't looking at a bigger picture. And if I'm a governor, these people are going to get tons of notes and get a lot more heartache than a little bit than get it their way. They're going to have to be doing it a little bit more my way. And I think that's somebody, again, I might sound like somebody that has, a mission to get something done, but if we don't, the state of Connecticut isn't going to be in the same financial conditions if somebody like me is not up in Hartford.
Yeah, and as speaking of the financial state of Connecticut, I mean, we are, as far from what I was just heard, that we are the second richest state in the country, but we're also I think it's like the 3rd or 5th most debt in the country. So that kind of brings me into your more of an economic plan. One of the biggest things that New York just did was make state colleges free for in-state students, and that does come with a couple of stipulations where after graduation you have to stay in the city or state for 3 to 5 years to try to help build their economy. How do you feel about possibly making Connecticut state schools free for in-state students?
Okay, so there's two questions came out of that. First, you talked about the economics and we being the wealthiest, but also being the heaviest tax people also in the state and the union too, by the way, with a governor that is the 3rd most liked Democrat in the United States. We have positioned ourselves in such a negative position. There is no beautiful plan that I can show you that I will be handed because I'm inheriting a mess. Okay, So financially, we would need a team. I'll tell you, whatever Republican almost comes to a primary or whatever Republican down there in Greenwich and any other, we have people that, you might see my lieutenant governor be a Republican from Greenwich. This is where we got to work together to solution this bigger problem. People with mindsets and businesses are going to be able to figure this out. We can't run the state like a business, though. It doesn't work that way. I can't. It just doesn't. We have too many things that we need to do for the citizens, and that's why the state can't operate like a business. It just doesn't work that way, and we have to look upon how it's protected to make the people and the citizens will be able to survive that ride of all the anti-money spending and all the other types of things that the state has basically, to me, said invested badly. So we have to reverse it. They're stopping it by not letting that continue down the road. We will have better, well thought out plans, more perspectives, and how that money comes back with alternative ways of how it comes back if it doesn't come on the same projections, quarterly projections and all that. So when you mention that, the economics of the state is about making the state operate and not spend everything before they make it. We should also, our budget should be based on what we know we have before we hand it over. We shouldn't be cutting, as people I think are now bragging, the government's smaller now in Hartford because of Malloy. No, it's not. It's smaller because he doesn't have the money to hire the people. They fired them. They had to let them go. Okay, pensions are out of control. They're controlling almost every position of our funding. We're in the position that pensions might be bounced back to the towns. The towns can do it. I live in Branford. We don't have $9 million sitting around. They're going to take it from our rainy day fund, as we call it, just to be able to, if we had to. That makes, if we had emergency, we don't have much money left in it. And that's not where the state needs to push on these problems. It's an answer. It's a solution, how they are up there right now thinking, but it's not a good long-term position. We need to reinvest in the state, take the funds out of general fund, put it into protection. So if you just said we could get this hedge funds before, as I said, and we put that money into education, if I have $500 million in this education fund for what you just said, in-state people could go to college that can't afford it. We have a procedure, a plan. They go through an interview. They put a video together. They ask to prove themselves why they should do it. That's great. But I have the money to give it to them. Okay? I didn't have to take a computer to pull from you, and you're in New Britain, from I need your paycheck to pay for this. I don't want that.
Right.
I already got where we're coming from to get the money. It didn't come from anybody's hands in the state of Connecticut to do this. And that's the way they got to look at this, because there's more about the money, the paper trail, and that's what needs to happen. So if we can get the funding, which I would work on one serious education fund bill that we would be able to do this by not taxing the taxpayer to make it happen, there's solutions that we can put that funding available and give it available. Again, the number of how many students need to do that. We got a lot of, I think I'm going to tell you right now, I have a list of exactly how many in-state, because we have a list. Hold on. So higher education in Connecticut, we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21 universities and colleges and community colleges here in the state of Connecticut right now. Okay. Mm-hmm. So now you're going to be fair to all 21 of them. You're picking who and choosing. You got to go to all of these universities, and we got to agree what they want too. And that's how business works. You got to get these people's voice of opinion too. Just offering a plan that thinks it's great and it could work. People obviously are paying and putting people in college already and putting people through higher education. And yes, we're all going into debt in it. So wouldn't it be great to have some people, but why is it just some people only get that and not all of us get it? And so we have to find a way that all 21 of these universities have a plan and how they provide to the state that they offer 100 students per year, whatever at UConn offers 1,000 students per year. We can look upon how they need to also make their dollars on their balance sheets work too. So other states around us, again, I told you, they're savvy. They're business people that are conceptually creating these plans that the state of Connecticut's not spending the time to do it. Just look on the TV commercials. Have you not seen that there's a New York State come and move your business to the state of New York? Why is that not a Connecticut one that we know is being played on every single North Carolina TV station? Why are we not, we are not aggressive enough to look at being greedy like they are to find a way to promote and market it. We should eventually then be the same. If we need to put the money, and I'll be the spokesperson in that TV ad to move to Connecticut because there's a new governor and there's a new chief in charge, That's what needs to happen in the state of Connecticut.
And I completely appreciate that. And I like a lot of your viewpoints. I like a lot of your stances. I really do.
So you would vote for me?
As a Republican, I do. I probably would. As a matter of fact, I actually
I'll
voiced my
tell you,
opinion.
the biggest response, not only are the Democrats so happy for me, but I'll tell you, the biggest response I've ever seen on this last 4 weeks of this campaign so far is a Republican, and droves of them, tons of them, thousands of them. I've been a Republican all my life. I would never vote for a Democrat, but I'm going to tell you, I would vote for you. And this is changing the politics in the state of Connecticut, that I, as a Democrat, am able to get a Republican to not vote for the Republican. Not in a primary, as the actual vote. So
right,
that's great for me, because I'm talking as a real person. Genuine.
And I think that's where politics has to go.
I have just as many issues as many people would think. I have had an incredibly hard life too. I've come over hurdles to be where I'm heading. But I'm a strong, brave fighter for the people. And it's just because of who I am. And for me to gain that genuine connection with you is not a fake one. Because I am me. People love that they can talk to me at anybody and can't believe they can talk. Why? Of course I would talk to you. You're not going to go to an advisor. I want you to hear from my mouth what you want me to hear. And this isn't me being a politician, because I'm not. I am somebody who's real. You want to shake my hand? You want to tell me you want to vote for me? When I'm at a grocery store, when I'm on the street, when I'm doing landscaping outside, I stop and listen. That's a genuine person of who I am. Just knowing this information and how I explain it, I hope explains how I feel about a lot of our finances and where we need to go and how we need to operate amongst our entire state and how people need to come together. It's just how I answered the education thing. This is the solutions that you're not hearing from the others. And I know it.
Right.
Because they don't think like me. They don't. They could steal these ideas and go out and start saying them, but you heard it here first. And that's what happens. So.
And I think, and you brought up the idea that, it on party lines. It has more to do with the individual person of, what their stances are. Just because you're a Democrat doesn't mean you can't have Republican viewpoints. It doesn't mean you can't agree with some and agree with some Republican stuff and disagree with some Democrat stuff. I think it has to,
I very clearly went out on the internet, very clearly calling out Dan Drew, that I don't think he should spending his time worrying about Jeff Sessions down as the Attorney General in federal government when he's running a mayor of a town. These are where I call out my own people. Why are you wasting the time on calling out something that you feel is more important than why we aren't investing in Middletown? So to me, it's the same. Don't think I always have the right connection and feel that what Chris Murphy or Blumenthal or Rosanna DeLauro or John Larson are saying what I feel. Just because they're Democrats doesn't mean that I'm on, oh my God, they're my icons, I got to work with them. I don't come from that background. If I feel
right.
You got to scream sanctuary Saturday, sanctuary city in New Haven. No, listen, we might stop the sanctuary city thing. And I'm able to voice my opinion on that. And that's the power of the people right now. I don't have to agree with everything that either one of the parties is coming up with.
Right, exactly. And you mentioned before that you've gone through a lot of obstacles. That kind of brings me to the next subject is that the fact that you are the first first transgender in history to run for governor. I believe, and that's in the country, not even just in Connecticut. But talk to me a little bit about those hurdles. I mean, it's such a hot button issue now. And it has been for the majority of the past 2 or 3 years. Talk to me about some of the hurdles that you have overcome.
Okay, sure. So first of all, being transgender from a male to female is a very expensive situation. It could be considered mental health. It could be considered confusion for people. But they're not in my shoes. They weren't able to know when I was born as a child. I grew up with Barbies. I grew up and played around women. I dressed up in my mother's wedding dress. I understood I was a woman. There was a disconnect on the visual form of who I was, but that quickly was found at birth and grown through my adolescent years to high school when I found out, I'm in the wrong body. And the people I grew up with along the way in Brantford understood there was something different about me. I didn't always participate in all the fun excitement of being a kid. I went home and stayed to myself or hanged out with my friends, worked, educated, read a lot, but grew up inside myself. And I don't look like any other transgender person. I don't feel, I don't sound, I don't have the body type. I've went through, since 20, I was a model, a professional model throughout the entire country, 3 Bikini International Awards. Most people never even knew I was transgender. Most people don't know. The media made sure that everybody knew, which is fine. Guess what? That makes me upfront and very much to the position. I'm able to handle this. So what? And that's what most people say. So what? I want to know how you're going to keep money in my pocket. I could care less about where you came from. I don't care about your past. And that's great. And I think that's where the position of this is now. It's the right time, the right message, and the right person to represent that group. I've got many people interview me from the LGBT community. They want me to speak for them. They love that I'm doing this for them. But I'm not doing it for them. I'm doing this for myself. I didn't ask to be anyone's spokesperson. I didn't ask to represent the group for the national news. So I became national news. I think in being in this system, your name recognition helps. And I'm pretty sure the media just played that card for me. And I guarantee you there's more people in the state of Connecticut that know I'm running for governor than any other person. So it worked in my favor. But my hurdles. Go back. When people are in my shoes and understand that there's a disconnect from not feeling correct inside yourself, you fix it. And that's how I did it. I spent close to $100,000 on my body to make it look the way it does. It was something that maybe the cost shouldn't be the cost they are. Maybe there's people out there that can't spend this money to make them look like they do. There's hurdles in that part of it. There's people that are struggling, can't get a job, the whole bathroom issue. One question came is, you can't go to the bathroom in North Carolina, or now it's passed over, but you can. I always could go to the bathroom in North Carolina. I always could go to the female bathroom in any state, on an airplane, anywhere, because I can, because I am a legal female. My birth certificate's changed, my passport, my driver's license, my paperwork, my physical forms, and anything. As people say, well, you're only female on paper. But I am in reality, and that's what it is, because people need to reality relate to you in the public. And I don't get questioned as, are you a man or female? And why it doesn't make it confusing. Do you go in the men's bathroom or the female bathroom at 46 years old? I've always went to the girls' bathroom since I've been a child. I always did when I was in high school. And so to me, it becomes just a learning curve, I think is how I'm going to say this more. I'm a learning curve to people, but at the same time it's something that they're going to talk about and it's going to fade away. It's okay, I heard it and I'm done with it. It's not going to mean I won't vote for her. It's just, I heard it. So it's okay. It's just like somebody having 16 felonies who's a mayor in the state of Bridgeport that might run for governor. Good for him. If the people want him, there's nothing about your past that should be holding you down. So the same missions for where I'm heading to there. So for me, being in the transgender world of it is part of it, but it's not the most important part. And if it is someone's important part to it, let's educate them, sit down. If you don't like me, and I know you're going to want to say hatred things on the internet, thank God there's privacy and security for us anyways. But at the same time, is they have a right to say what they feel because they're just ignorant at the whole topic. It's too complex
Absolutely.
for certain people. It's too controversial for them. Well, that wasn't my voter in the first place, okay? But there's 10,000 others that were over that too, okay? So
Right.
I got to kind of move on from it, and it's something that we just did. Being upfront and honest with the people is more important, I think, to showing the character of who I am.
You're absolutely right, and I am 100% behind you on that. When I first met you, God, it was over. I think it was like 10 years ago, or not 10 years ago, but maybe like 6 or 7 years ago. I never even knew. I would have never known that you were. So it was actually somebody who I worked with at the time when I had mentioned that I had met you that told me that you were a transgender, and I'm like, oh, well, I would have never known. I mean, I am completely 100% behind you about being upfront and honest with people about your past, and then also, you know, having people not judge you on your past, but who you are as a person, getting to know you. I go through the same thing. I've been open about my past, being a registered sex offender in Connecticut. I made a mistake, but that was all in the past. I've grown from it. I've got a great career, and I have this podcast now. And there are still people that say hateful things. But I,
Because
I
people today need to give people a chance. I wrote that again when I
right.
talked about it in one of my posts the other day. You can't just fight everybody because you can. Give somebody a chance. Give President Trump a chance to do this for us, okay? Give people a chance. If they fail, they're going to fail big time, okay? If this isn't going to work out, it's not going to work out. But let the people have a chance to do what they need to do.
You're absolutely right.
Just
And
because
JC,
I'm
I'd like to.
just because I'm in the public eye, I'm obviously will be hit upon more. But I'm already for that game. I already knew what I'm coming in for. It doesn't hurt my feelings what you feel about me. I would love to rather you come and talk to me in person and say that to my face, because at least you can. Doing it behind the computer
Right.
is a whole defense mechanism that people can say whatever they want, be whoever they want, be fake people, not even be who they are. We have reporters in our own local area that writes his own negative comments on me because he can, because nobody's getting up other than me to say, you write those. But the point is, the person is in their own misery. They're in their own situation. They can't concept this. It's too complex. But you know what? I think we spend quite a bit of time talking about numbers and business perspectives. That might be too complex for them too. But there's something that I do on a basic knowledge every day of my life is why I am going to be possibly the next governor, and also probably showing my fight all the way along the system, because I get the numbers for the state of Connecticut. It's not about being transgender.
And you're absolutely right. JC, I'd like to thank you for coming on. It's been a great interview, and I firmly support you 110%. Everything I heard today is fantastic, and I would definitely like to thank you for coming on, and thank you for sharing your story, sharing your struggles, and I wish you well, definitely, in this race in 2018.
Hey, coming together, you're sharing with me, this isn't going to be a struggle. This is going to be a fun thing for me, man. I'm willing to work hard and make it happen. And believe me, I respect you. We're friends of friends here. I don't look upon holding grudges and looking at people's past. It's not about that. This is about people moving forward and helping each other. And this is the same way the state of Connecticut needs to start looking at each other. There's thousands of more things I could bring out today that I need to talk to you about. The raising of the sales tax, now how we're going to build a new airport, how we're going to look at doing more for our people, and how tourism could be billions of dollars out of the state. These are the kinds of things that are very important, that are going to be where, your people are hopefully going to support you to support me, and bring those people together. Come to our Facebook. Come like our Facebook. Governor Wyatt is where you could find me. There's 2 Governor Wyatt pieces. Go and Facebook our main page. There's a website being built under Governor Wyatt. It's not going to be launched until May. You'll be able to see every video, every issue, how we're going to put the perspectives and plans together, all of my message to the people. And so there's a lot going on. It's time to catch up, but I'm not in a rush, okay? This is working all in my favor, and I'm glad to be the representative for the people. So I hope all your people want to come and support me down the road. If they want to volunteer, if they want to make a contribution, because they can. It's all set up online. Just reach out to us. Go to Governor Wyatt on Facebook, email me, message me, and I appreciate all your time. I would love to talk more about sports because I think I could have did better at it.
Not a problem. We'll definitely have to schedule another
interview. If somebody
interview.
has a sports team in this state and you want me to be in that outfit and we're going to take a photo together, get it on. Ask me. I'll get in the Yukon outfit or whatever or yard goats we need to put on me, because it's time for the people to realize that I'm looking to win this at the end of the game. So.
Absolutely, Jacey Wyatt. Thank you very much. We'll have to do another interview, and
the fun and exciting.
we'll do
it, isn't it? The fun and exciting.
Yes, absolutely, and very personable as well.
Not the politician governors and types of mayors and all the other people that are state reps that are going to be cold and damp with you. This is the energy and the fun that you need in the people of Connecticut, and hopefully they hear my message pretty clear.
Absolutely. Jacey Wyatt, thank you very much. We will plan a second interview.
Anytime.
All right. Thank you very much.
Okay. Bye, everybody. Thank you.
And that was Jacey Wyatt, gubernatorial candidate for Connecticut. I'd like to thank her once again for coming on, and definitely it was a fantastic interview. I have to. I think I have to kind of put. I have to. I have to realize that I have to stop using Firefox. I think that's what it boils down to. So I know that you guys were able to hear her. I wasn't able to use the virtual cable because that's for some reason only hooks up through Google Chrome. But either way, you guys heard the interview. Jacey Wyatt, she brought up a lot of great points, and I truly support her right now as the front runner being for governor in 2018. So definitely keep listening. We'll have a part 2, absolutely. We're gonna go to another song right now, and then I'll be right back. This is gonna be a long one today, folks. So here's Rob Zombie with "Never Gonna Stop," the Red Groovy, right here. You know what? It's Rob Zombie. Let's go to another one. This probably kind of goes better with what the interview we just had. So here's a Living Color with Cult of Personality right here on the Sportswire.
And during the few moments that we have left, we want to talk right down to earth in a language that everybody here can easily understand.
The cult of personality. I know your anger, I know your dreams. personality, the cult of personality, the cult of personality. Neon lights, Nobel Prize. When a leader speaks, that leader dies. You won't have to follow me. Only you can set you free. You gave me fortune, you gave me fire, you gave me power in your God's name. I'm every person you need to be. Oh, I'm the cult of
That's not what your country can do for you. The only thing we have to fear is...
All right, and that was Living Color with Cult of Personality, right here on the Sportswire. Like I said, fantastic interview with Jacey Wyatt. I do have the original, I guess, from Uber Conference, the original recording. I do have that. So what I might end up doing is, if people say that they couldn't hear it completely, I will go ahead and edit the show so that takes off that part of the interview and inserts the original in there. Because it's, unadulterated and unedited and everything. But I really do appreciate what she said, and it really makes you realize that it's not the exterior shell of the person that means anything. It's what's inside. Remember, we all bleed red. Okay, we all have the same color blood. We all, it's what's inside that counts, and that's all that matters. So with that said, I really applaud her for stepping up and saying, you know what, I know that all this crap from my past is going to be it is going to be brought up, she was ready for it. And, she was open and honest with people, and that's exactly how it's meant to be. So with that said, I firmly support her. I can't say I endorse her just yet, but I firmly support her in her run for governor, and that's as being a Republican, because I think we've gotten really out of hand with this two-party system. And the fact is that it's not about being Republican or Democrat. It's about what you can do for this country. And it's, and like I said, it's not about abortion. It's not about same-sex marriage. It's not about, like she brought up, the transgender bathroom laws. It's about what you can do to keep money in people's pockets and to keep our country safe. And, there's more to that, but those are the basic things that people want to make sure about. Okay? She did say that she can't, that you can't run the state like a business. I disagree with that. I feel like you have to run any kind of government, whether it's the state or the country, as a business. Yeah, there are checks and balances, but either way, you have to be able to. The money's there. It's all about. Unfortunately, it's all about the Benjamins. But she did say she wants to, develop more urbanization of Hartford and then urban development in Hartford, more nightlife, and she's right. And that's the thing is like, look at Google, look at Amazon. They have campuses. It's not even colleges aren't the only thing that have campuses anymore. Okay, it's businesses where you build a huge ass, corporate home, a corporate headquarters. And then the surrounding towns are all, the surrounding areas are all housing for those workers. So you have to have something to offer, those workers to do when they're not working, which is rare, but, you have to have the shopping, the nightlife, the clubs, the bar scene, and not the rundown stuff that we currently have. It's got to be upbeat. Bowling alleys, the baseball, the sporting teams. So, it's a step in the right direction, and I really do appreciate what she said. We'll have another interview with her going forward, talking about, income tax and sales tax and all that other kind of stuff that really makes the meat and potatoes of the of what this is, of this country, of this government, and it'll help me in the long run as well. But you know what? We've had a great show for you today. I want to thank you all for listening. Hour and a half show, 45 minutes of it was the interview. And like I said, just let me know if you could hear it. I'll probably listen to it myself and then download it and re-upload it and, do what I have to do to make sure that everybody can hear that interview perfectly, because I want you to hear it. I want you to hear the genuine tone in her voice. It's not about somebody's exterior, and it's not even, she's not a career politician. And that's the most important thing. She brought up term limits, which is fantastic, which you never hear Democrats talk about. Because Democrats, they want to get into government and die in there, basically. I mean, look at, Joe Lieberman, perfect example. He was a senator for how many freaking years? Rosa DeLauro, same thing. How many years has she been in the House of Representatives? Now, I can't really piss her off because she's a friend of our family, but that's the point. You go in, you do your two terms or whatever, and you're out. You go back to the private sector. Okay? You need fresh ideas in government. I've been saying that for a while now. All right, so now that I'm done with my soapbox, all right, we're going to get to our final song for the day. Toby Keith, courtesy of the Red, White, and Blue. It's a staple now because it's the truth, and now that the U.S. has balls again, okay, the American badass is back, and the line of the song, "Put a boot in your ass, it's the American way." That's exactly how it is. So. Here's Toby Keith, the courtesy of the Red, White, and Blue. We'll see you next week on the Sportswire.
American girls and American guys, we'll always stand up and salute. We'll always recognize when we see old glory flying. There's a lot of men dead, so we can sleep in peace at night when we lay down our heads. My daddy served in the army, where he lost his right eye, but he flew a flag out in our yard till the day that he died. He wanted my mother, my brother, my sister, and me to grow up and live happy in the land of the free. Now this nation that I love is falling under attack. A mighty sucker punch came flying in from somewhere in the back. Soon as we could see clearly through our big black eye, man, we lit up your world like the 4th of July. Hey, Uncle Sam, put your name at the top of his list, and the Statue of Liberty started shaking her fist, and an eagle will fly, and it's gonna be here when you hear Mother Freedom start ringing her bell, and it'll feel like the whole world is raining down on you. This big dog will fight when you rattle his cage, and you'll be sorry that you mess with the U.S. of A. 'Cause we'll put a boot in your ass, it's the American way. Hey, Uncle Sam, put your name at the top of his list, and the Statue of Liberty started shaking her fist, and the eagle will fly, and it's gonna be hell when you hear Mother Freedom start ringing her bell, and it'll feel like the whole wide world is raining down on you. Brought to you courtesy of the red, white, and blue. Of the red, white, and blue. Of my red, white, and
Okay, bye everybody. Thank you.